Welcome to Old Fashioned Finance, the podcast that mixes cocktails and high finance. I'm your host, Caleb Frankert, and I'm joined by my good friend and fellow money muddler, Jason Burnell.
Caleb, can a podcast about finance be entertaining?
Not without alcohol.
All right, let's mix it up.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Morning.
Great intro.
Morning drinking.
I
Good
know.
morning, sir.
I know.
How are you?
Our schedules are getting in the way of our drinking. Oh, well, we just adjusted.
Yeah. This
No
should be
big
fun.
deal. It's good.
Yeah, a lot going on this week, huh?
Yeah. We traveled together a little bit.
We did.
That was great.
Eddie Merlot's has a good bartender.
Yes, they do. Goodness gracious.
Yep.
Yeah, and we always are. We're turning into like parsnickety little snobs when it comes to drink. So it's good when you sit down and you have a really nice cocktail.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
it's just hard to find.
I generally test a bartender with a Manhattan. If I'm going to order
Yeah.
some cocktails, I'm going to start with a Manhattan.
Yep.
If it comes out great, okay, let's keep going.
Right.
If they can't make a Manhattan, I'm sorry, I'm out.
Yeah.
Right?
So I mean, it's funny. There's like a zillion like bartending videos online, and one that I can think of, I think you can probably remember, is like this giant like 24-ounce plastic cup, and she's
she's
making an old fashioned, and she's like.
And now there's a lot of alcohol in this drink.
Yeah,
because you dumped half of a bottle in.
She's got like a 1.5 liter. She's just dumping it in there. So yeah, so it was good.
That was
good
funny.
times.
Yeah, no, this one was. So I ordered my Manhattan with my steak, and then I'm thinking, what goes good with a steak? And then I thought, well, yeah, Manhattan actually. A Manhattan or an old fashioned goes really, really well with a steak.
Yeah.
So I ordered a second Manhattan because it was so good, and I think the waiter got mixed up and brought me an old fashioned. But
I agree.
I wasn't complaining. That was really good too. What did you have there?
I had a Manhattan also, which is usually our go-to, and then I also had a Kentucky Mule.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which is not a hard drink.
Also hard to screw up.
Yeah. So, but again, Kentucky Mule, ginger beer, bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
We walked to the restaurant from like 20 minutes away.
Yes.
And we were sweaty. That was like a super cold drink. It was good.
It was quite refreshing.
Yeah. And,
it was.
And then like we went to bed, and the next day we woke up and it was like 50 degrees outside.
Yeah.
It was like 90 the day before.
Which I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it.
Fall is here. It's good.
Well, we're kind of going to be, transitioning out of the summer cocktails, which we've done a lot of this year, and we'll be getting into some more fall themed probably.
Yes.
Not yet though. Not yet. Today we're drinking the Salty Dog, which is a summer drink.
It is definitely.
So we can get into it. What we're drinking today, I'm going to just tell you, I'm a little nervous.
Me too. I saw how much grapefruit juice you put in there.
I am not a grapefruit juice fan. My dad every morning would eat a half of a grapefruit and a bowl of grape nuts, I think.
Oof.
Yeah, he...
wow, why did he torture himself?
Swore by it. But he'd get grapefruit juice all the time too. And when you're a little kid and you see like the Tropicana thing in the fridge, and you're like, oh, orange juice, and then you're not expecting it. Whoa.
Yeah,
that's bad.
Right,
especially
in
right
the
after
eyes.
you brush your teeth.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So I'm a little worried because this is a grapefruit juice drink, but let's see.
Knowing we were doing this drink today, I just didn't brush my teeth today.
I was gonna say, I noticed that a little bit. We're standing pretty far apart here.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
So we're also gonna get into finance at some point.
This is an easy drink though, right?
Oh, this is a very easy drink. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I screwed it up. We'll find out.
Yeah.
But, we're also gonna talk about really. It sounds kind of faux pas. I think people are afraid to ask their advisor, or if they're interviewing an advisor, how do you get paid?
Yeah.
Because it just seems like a bold question. Well, darn it. You should know how your advisor gets paid. So we're going to walk through some different scenarios.
Yeah. And we're seeing this come back quite a bit because volatility in the market, they dust off some of the best high commission products. Throw those back out there for all the fear mongering to happen. So
don't spoil it.
I know.
Let's drink a drink.
All right.
So today we are drinking the Salty Dog, which is it just makes me think of my happy place, Jason. Hilton Head Island, South Carolina.
Yes.
You see we're in Ohio. Half the people that are there are Ohio people.
Yeah.
Like when you're driving down, it's all Ohio license plates.
Yeah.
Great place. But the Salty Dog Cafe, you've seen the shirts.
Oh,
right?
yeah, definitely.
So this one it made me think, oh man, I wish I was in Hilton Head.
I should go on vacation.
Today would be a great day to be in Hilton Head. So anyway, we're drinking the Salty Dog today. This is an easy one to try at home. You probably have what you need. If not, a quick stop at the grocery store will fix that. So Jason, what we got today here is 1.5 ounces of gin or vodka.
Yes.
We went gin, of course.
Yeah, of course we did.
But if you like vodka, knock yourself
out. Stop listening.
Don't listen to him. Well, I guess you said stop listening. So 1.5 ounces of, we use Tanqueray gin here. 3 ounces of freshly squeezed grapefruit juice.
Okay.
We will see.
Yeah.
And then you salt the rim. You should probably salt the rim before you mix this stuff up.
Yeah, don't dump it out.
And then we just garnish with, a grapefruit peel. Just took a little, what do you call it?
Just a peeler?
Little, vegetable peeler.
Yeah.
Just to get that essence while you're drinking it. So an easy one to build. Throw some ice into a rocks glass after you've salted the rim. Throw your grapefruit juice in. Throw your gin in. Stir it up nicely and enjoy.
Yes.
Jason, let's try it out. Cheers. I don't hate that.
Nope. I could tell right away that I was going to like it as soon as it hit my nose.
Ooh, I don't hate that at all. Actually, that's really
that's nice.
It is nice. The salt, I think, neutralizes.
It's always a surprise.
Well, I gotta be honest.
Why would you put salt on the rim of a cup? Well, because something in this is super sour.
Yeah, it really does neutralize that grapefruit juice. I don't mind this at all, Jason.
No,
this is pretty good.
That was really easy.
It's not super grapefruity. Now, it's late September. Maybe the grapefruits at the grocery store are not super fresh. I don't know, but
no,
I'm going in for another sip here.
That's really good. One thing, a bit of a debate. I was talking about the peel a little bit with a friend, and I was watching a pretty fancy bartender online, and I like what he does with the peel. He takes the peel and he squeezes it, like
get the oil out of it.
Yeah, all over the glass, like just. Then he rubs it on the rim of the glass, and I feel like
you're getting that a little bit of the oil every time
it's an oil, yeah, and so it doesn't just you don't just wipe it off with your lips when you drink. So that was a little bit of a debate, and that's really good. I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be super sour.
Me too. So I took a little bit of liberty with this garnish. Actually, most recipes call for a grapefruit slice to garnish. Now the grapefruits I bought were huge. I wasn't going to fit a grapefruit slice in there. So similar to when I make a Manhattan or an old fashioned, I'll do some of the peel.
Yeah.
And just kind of either throw that in or put that on a skewer or something, just so you kind of get that smell whenever you're drinking it. Now, grapefruit doesn't have that strong, overpowering smell. You don't get like orange smacks you in the face, lemon smacks you in the face.
Yeah, but as soon as I put that up to my nose, I smelled grapefruit, which was, and I don't have a great sniffer. I think I got the COVID nose, but that's a good, easy drink to make.
It really
reminds me of the Paloma.
Yes, it does.
Where it's like 2 ingredients, have at it.
Was it 2? Well, we salted the rim on that just because, it's like a margarita.
It's like a margarita, drink, yeah. So, tequila.
Contro, I think.
We didn't use Contro in that.
We didn't?
No, we used tequila, squirt.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay, and lime juice.
Or Fresco.
A little bit of lime, lime. And
that was a good one.
It's easy, and it is like the lazy margarita.
Okay, so I would put this as more of this seems to me like kind of a breakfast cocktail.
It does.
This might be some of that
level.
Yeah, a little hair of the dog kind of a drink,
No, that's good.
Yeah, I like it. It's, we're here at 9:20 in the morning recording a podcast.
This is really unusual for us, by the way.
And I don't feel like this is ridiculous for us to be drinking right now.
We both were thinking this is going to be ridiculous.
All right. So, okay, the Salty Dog. Check it out, folks. Yeah. I'm surprised. I like it. I thought I was going to hate this drink. So,
yay.
Moving on. Jason, how do you get paid? Here we go.
Wow.
All right, so today's topic is, how does your advisor get paid?
Yes.
This is a fair question, okay?
Yes.
But, and you've seen it when we've met with prospects. They're a little, they want to ask, but they feel like they're going to offend us.
The apprehension to talk about money to a person that talks about money for a living,
right,
is just so obvious. And you need to just throw that away. I mean, there's few things in this world, I feel like they almost view it as like going to the doctor's office. Like, you have no idea how much this is going to cost you, right?
Right.
And you can't ask, because that would just nobody there actually knows. So.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So don't, like, I think that's probably, I know I'm like getting to the conclusion part here, but like,
Well, don't do that.
Just ask.
I still have some drink left.
Just ask.
Yeah, I try to make this as non-awkward as possible. So if I remember, I generally just come right out and say, you're probably wondering how I get paid. And this is actually, I think, I don't want to say a selling point because we're not selling anything, but it is an advantage to the way we do business, I believe. So I like to come out and say, hey, you're probably wondering, so I'm going to tell you because I think you ought to know. And the reason that you ought to know is, nobody wants to get a call from their advisor, right? And say, hey, this is what's going on. I think we need to do X, Y, and Z. We need you to come in and do this. And you go, well, I like my advisor. I think they're looking out for me, but why does he want me to change right now? Things are going okay, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is he getting paid? Does he need a commission? Why, right?
Yep.
So I like to get it out of the way and just say, I want you to know how I get paid. So you understand that when we make changes, you know what my motivation is.
Absolutely.
Right? So
exactly.
Let's get into it a little bit, Jason. And I think it probably, I don't want to say that most advisors out there probably are still doing this. It is kind of the old school way. Let's talk about the old broker commission world.
Sure.
So I look at this as the old school way of doing things. At a time, this was the only way for advisors to do business.
For
right?
a long time. I mean, and, really the advent of, what's known as an RIA or fee-only advisors, it's old. It's just people didn't use it that often. They were using the old school broker commission model, which is still, super prevalent.
Yeah, and
more common, actually.
Here's the other thing I'll say. And I'm not trying to wrap it up here and get to my conclusion either, but I think like most of these episodes, I'm not going to come out and say one way is completely wrong and never makes any sense, and the other is always right and always makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I will say, like anything, if it's legal, it works for someone. It's got to benefit somebody, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be allowed to do it.
Sure.
So, but yes, this is the old school way of doing things. Jason, when I started and I got my Series 6 and 63 life and health license, like most of us did when we got started,
right?
Yeah,
because that's another unfortunate part of our practice and our business is business and financial advising planning. There isn't an easy way to enter the business. Mm-hmm. There isn't like a widely accepted internship program. So many of us go down the bank advisor.
Somebody's got to sponsor you to get these licenses to do what you want to do.
You get sponsored and you go out and you get these, life and health, Series 6 or 7, 63, 65.
Yep.
And then you're ready. You can go out and start selling some stuff and making and earning commissions when you do it.
Yeah. So from the start, Series 6, 63, life and health, basically the only thing I was allowed to do was earn a commission.
That's right.
And when I met you, you were, I'd put it this way, had one foot in one side and one foot in the other.
That's absolutely true.
But when you got started, were you also commission only?
Absolutely. Yeah. Probably for the first 2 or 3 years, I was commission only. And that's just the way it was.
And quite honestly, some of that is how you survive for the first couple of years. Really, you have to get paid, right? So when we talk about commissions, all right, here's what we're talking about. We just kind of talked about and we've added lots of licenses over the years and things like that. We've taken lots of tests, folks. But basically, we could sell life insurance, right? And I'm saying we could sell life insurance.
Correct.
Which came with a commission attached.
Correct.
So you match a client up with a company. Mm-hmm. They give you let's call it a finder's fee, a commission.
Yep.
The client isn't paying directly out of that commission. But the insurance company is making money, and they're basically fronting you on that, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So okay, that's a commission type product. I don't know of any way that you can do life insurance without a commission.
Not that I'm aware of, but again, with the advent of fee only advisors, I think that's probably something they're working on. Yeah. So a lot of times with life insurance, you sell someone a $500,000 policy. It costs $500 a year. Mm-hmm. Your commission would likely be somewhere in the range of the first year premium. So, and that's fronted. And then ongoing, they're going to receive a residual, a little kickback every year that policy is still in force.
Yeah. And they know they're going to get paid, right? Yep. Because if the client breaks the contract a year in, they charge a back end load.
Yep.
So, or a penalty.
A penalty. Yeah, exactly.
So they know they're getting paid. But that would be that's the first thing that we learned about.
Yep.
when we got started all those years ago. And then annuities, which are life insurance products. So continue with the commission type structure.
Right.
Now there are some fancy ways to do annuities outside of that commission structure now, but
again,
really, yeah, if for the most part, let's say if your advisor is selling you life insurance or life insurance products such as annuities, they are probably conducting business in this old-fashioned broker way of business, right?
Yeah, so index, variable, fixed annuity, single premium, they're all going to receive a commission, and that is really what they and I'm going to move forward here a little bit. They call in your best interest. It's a best interest arrangement.
You are moving forward.
I am. I'm sorry. That's it. Again, that's
the other word I didn't put up there that I'll throw in there along with best interest is suitability.
Correct.
Suitability.
It's a suitable product for you. It may not actually be the absolute best product for you.
Yes.
Okay. Or the cheapest for that matter.
So, okay, before we jump right into that, we talked about life insurance. We talked about, annuities and things. And by the way, I would think most people that are listening that have an advisor assume that their advisor gets commissions because this was the prevalent way of doing business for years and years and years.
Yeah.
So when we get into the other way of doing things, I think sometimes folks are more confused then, right? Well, what do you mean? Well, so how do you get your commission, right?
Right.
But this also falls, into the mutual fund category and selling stocks, individual stocks and things like that. A Series 7
Yeah,
license.
so you place a trade for a stock.
There's
You're
a commission.
Make a commission. There's a transaction cost, so the broker gets paid.
Right.
In a mutual fund, there's often a load or a front end sales charge.
Yeah.
So you're going to pay, 3% all the way up to almost 5%.
I think just to 5 is 6 the max that they're allowed.
You know what? I flushed my brain of a lot of that on purpose, but
the highest I think I've seen is 5.75.
Yeah, so you're going to pay something just to have the privilege to invest in that fund. And a big part of that goes back to the advisor. So essentially you're paying the advisor to allow you to get into this fund.
Easy math. Let's say you're young, you're starting out, you realize I want to start investing. I'm going to go to my local whatever.
Yeah, right.
That does investments, retirement
your local
consultant.
bank, whatever. Yep.
Sure. And you say, I want to start with $10,000. What do we do here? Well, you're probably going to see a mutual fund.
Yep.
You're probably going to pay about 5.75% up front.
Yep.
That's $575 that comes out.
Correct.
For the privilege of owning the fund, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of that, a good chunk of that goes to your advisor.
Correct.
Right? Again, let's get into the best interest suitability now, right? So let's just keep walking with this example, Jason. I walk into my local bank.
Yep.
And I said, hey, I've been listening to Dave Ramsey.
Yep.
And I'm out of debt now, aside from my mortgage. And I realize I'm kind of behind on retirement savings. So I want to get started. I've got $10,000 to work with, right?
Okay. Yep.
And we decide that this XYZ mutual fund is the way to go. And I understand it's going to cost me up front. In what capacity did you act as the advisor, Jason? You just sold me that mutual fund.
Yeah. So I acted, number one, as a broker.
Yes.
Okay. I had my broker hat on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sell you a fund that is suitable to you.
What does that mean?
Suitable means
sounds obvious.
Yeah, it is a product that fits, the particular boundaries or rules you've given me.
Mm-hmm.
So a young person might be really aggressive. So we're going to pick a fund that's aggressive. Now, suitability has a zillion definitions when you get into the weeds. Now, where the argument comes in is just because it's suitable doesn't mean it's the best.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that might be best in terms of cost. It could be best in terms of performance. But if the product,
which is interesting because we can't look at past performance.
That's right. But if the product fits the criteria for this investor profile, it is a suitable product, and that's all it takes.
When? At
the point of selling the product.
So what about 6 months down the road?
10 years from now, suitability will definitely...
Hands are clean.
Yep.
Right? When I made the recommendation, it was suitable. We're done here.
That's right. That's right. So, a super ultra aggressive mutual fund for a 22-year-old person will be suitable. Now, if they set it and forget it, one of my favorite lines, I said it in the last podcast.
Ronco.
Yeah, if they set it and forget it and, they're 45 years old, it probably isn't suitable anymore, almost likely. But the broker who sold that doesn't have the obligation to change.
Right. So let's keep fleshing this out. I like this, Jason. Why, if I went and I bought that mutual fund, and let's say, I didn't add to it for a while, my broker hasn't called me for 5 years. I wonder what's going on in the market. Why is that?
So the sad part about this is unless he makes a change, okay, or she makes a change, they're not going to earn any new commissions. They're out probably gathering new clients, selling them a product and earning commissions. That is probably one of the biggest disadvantages of this arrangement.
And now this is not everybody. There are many advisors who do a great job, and they may do exchanges within fund families and things like that and keep up on it. But I think the point to take away from this is, what is their obligation really? Well, they made a suitable recommendation. From a compliance standpoint, they're off the hook. Right. So if the fund changes managers and they go completely off the rails, it's okay. We're done here because I acted as a broker. I did what was suitable at the time, right? And because there's no additional pay going forward, really, and we're not going to get into 12B1s and all the minute ways.
We might want to do that at some point because it is actually pretty interesting.
It is.
And it's out there. So, yeah, I mean.
But there's not a lot of reason, unless they're just a really good advisor who does what they say they're going to do, for them to continue to consult you on.
I would actually argue here, you just called them an advisor, and they're not. And they're actually just...
Great point. That's a great point.
They're a broker. They sold you something. They are not financial planners. They are filling a need with a suitable product, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
Well, okay. I feel like that was pretty good, a good example of what you might see, right? And let's get into the other side of the house, Jason.
Sure.
Which is fee-only financial advice.
Sure.
Right? What does that mean? I thought we just talked about a fee that a broker might charge, right?
Yes.
Is that what we're talking about?
A fee-only advisor is essentially someone that does not earn a commission from selling a product. It's typically set up as, if we have assets under management, so you bring $100,000 here, we charge a flat fee, okay? 1%, 1.5%, 2%, it just depends on the arrangement.
And that's an annual.
And that's an annual fee. Now, even under fee-only advisors, there's a bit of little nuances. At Blue Jay, we do a wrap fee, so it covers all the costs.
Yeah, okay? There are costs inside of those accounts still.
Right. So the reason I chose this for us, and so of course I've got a little bit of a skew here, but it's the most transparent to me. It's disclosed on your statement. You understand how much you pay. We can talk about it easily. Math can be done with simple calculations, and that covers everything.
So let's flesh this situation out.
Sure.
I come to Blue Jay Financial Group. I go to any fee-only advisor because, maybe I want a little bit more hands-on approach. Maybe I don't want Ronco, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to set it and forget it.
Sure.
And, we sit down. Let's say I'm the same client. Right. And I went in and I bought a mutual fund 10 years ago. Well, now I have $100,000 and I want to talk to you about how you charge your fee, right? So we have let's keep the math simple. 1%. You charge me 1% a year. That's $1,000 a year.
Sure.
Every year, right?
Yep.
As long as we're holding the money.
That's correct.
So if my account over the next 10 years grows to $200,000, well, Jason, 1% of $200,000 is now $2,000, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's illustrate. You talked about transparency of fees, right? Elaborate a little bit more on that. Why that's more transparent. I always say why it puts us on the same side of the table as our clients.
Yeah. So, I mean, as you experience success, we also experience and get to share in that success. We have not only a fiduciary obligation, which means we're bound by law.
I was going to say, explain that.
To do what's in your best interest, okay?
Fiduciary versus suitability.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't need to be, it has to be suitable, but it also has to be in your best interest. So I can't choose, XYZ fund because they sent me to Cabo.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be a breach of my fiduciary duty.
But also the thing that you need to add to that is not at the moment that we got together, ongoing,
all the time,
ongoing.
Yeah. So, it's a more dynamic approach. There's no doubt about it. So as you do better, we do better.
What about when we do worse, Jason?
When you do worse, we
all
do
know
worse.
what the market's done this year.
Yeah. So we have that emotional response like a lot of our clients, and because it does have a direct impact on how well we're doing as a firm. So good, bad, or indifferent, that's what it is.
You feel the pain, we feel the pain.
That's right.
Yep.
And so
and I always say, quite honestly, hey, look, when you're down, you're not happy. I'm not happy either. And also I'm probably working harder than I was before. Like
right.
I'm taking a pay cut and working harder.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing to remember about this, and I want to make sure we touch on this, is a lot of financial advisors can wear both hats.
Yes.
I think this is
think of the banks.
This is
right? Think of the big wirehouses.
Exactly. I personally, controversially, I think that this is like probably one of the most regulatory like fouls on the field.
Yeah.
I can't stand that you can switch hats in between broker and fee.
You just got to disclose it when you do.
And
right?
that does not,
because everybody reads those disclosures.
Nobody knows.
The way.
Nobody knows what's going on. So, we've chosen to be strictly fee only. We can't switch hats. Okay. Yep. And like I said earlier in the podcast, that when things get volatile, they dust off some of these high commission old products, the
safe stuff.
It's the safe stuff. And it makes me really, really nauseous.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I think that that's important to point out that some folks wear both hats.
Yeah.
And you need to ask your advisor.
Absolutely.
Which hat are you wearing right now?
In what capacity are you advising? Right.
When you sell me a 4% fixed annuity for 7 years, that's a commission product.
Right.
That's not a fee-only product.
And again, I'm going to be soft on this. I'll go back and I'll say, just because you're earning a commission doesn't mean it's the wrong thing or a bad thing. We recommend life insurance all the time.
Yeah.
We just don't do it and get paid on it.
That's correct.
So
we fill the need with someone else.
And I think that most firms would say, well, that's why we allow our advisors to wear both hats, because while they're planning and doing what they're doing, they need to be able to recommend and sell insurance or whatnot, that those only commission products that don't fit into the fee-only system. But like you said, especially in times like today, it's like selling ketchup popsicles to ladies in white gloves, right?
Yeah,
Dust off those high commission products when people are scared, and that's what we see a lot of. So
yeah, I mean, and one last note here: a lot of times advisors like us will mix in our financial planning as part of our overall fee.
Yeah,
and some advisors will charge an extra cost, lower AUM fee, higher financial planning cost. That's kind of getting in the weeds of things.
It is.
But at the end of the day, if your advisor is getting like sweaty and sweating bullets when you start bringing this question up,
the fee,
that's a good sign for you that, you know what, he's dancing around this. Or they say it's free, it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's the big egregious one. See, you have this 7-year 4% fixed annuity. Well, you didn't pay any. There's no cost. There's no fee. They got paid, man. They got paid. So and consumer always pays, as we know, for everything. So
exactly.
All right, Jason, that was fun. If you have more questions about this, if you want to know how your advisor gets paid, if you're our client and you're not sure how we get paid, hopefully this
is a good point.
Let us know. But it is time to close out the tab, so thanks for having a drink with us this week. If you have a question or a topic you want addressed on the Old Fashioned Finance podcast, be sure to email us at podcast@bluejfg.com. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to share the show with someone you love or just someone who needs a little money muddling themselves. You can stay up to date with the latest action by following us on Facebook. Old Fashioned Finance is brought to you by Blue Jay Financial Group. That's bluejfg.com, and produced by Podastery Studios. We've been your hosts, Caleb and Jason. Cheers.
Cheers.
Blue Jay Financial Group, LLC. Blue Jay is a registered investment advisor registered with the state of Ohio. Registration does not imply a certain level of skill or training. The presence of this advertisement on this podcast shall not be directly or indirectly interpreted as a solicitation of investment advisory services to persons of another jurisdiction unless otherwise permitted by statute. Follow-up or individualized responses to a consumer in a particular state by Blue Jay and the rendering of personalized investment advice for compensation shall not be made without first complying with jurisdiction requirements or pursuant an applicable state exemption. All verbal and written consent on this presentation is for information purposes only. Opinions expressed herein are solely those of Blue Jay unless otherwise otherwise specifically cited. Material presented is believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations are made by our firm as to other parties' informational accuracy or completeness. All information or ideas provided should be discussed in detail with an advisor, accountant, or legal counsel prior to implementation.
I didn't know you got paid to do this job.
You're getting paid?
Yeah. I was doing it for fun.